I love you.
On Storyboard today, brands versus customers in the digital age. What Vodafone's legal notice to Dhaval Walia means. 3G services are on marketing overdrive. Find out how they're doing and why the ad industry has sent out an SOS on service tax. Welcome to Storyboard. Social media is changing the way consumer grievances are aired, and companies are figuring out how to deal with this on an ongoing basis. Case in point, Vodafone SR's legal notice to subscriber Dhaval Walia asking him to refrain from false allegations and defamatory comments on social websites and to remove his Facebook posts that diss out his experience of Vodafone's 3G service. Walia has not complied so far, and Vodafone is not commenting on the issue that raises some very critical questions. Some of them are, is Vodafone justified in threatening to sue a consumer for sharing his brand experience? How did it access Facebook posts that are meant to be private? How does a brand handle the multiplying effect of social media? And where does the law stand on all of this? Animesh Das looks for answers.
It was this promise of 3G services that made Mumbai resident and journalist Dhaval Walia switch or port into Vodafone in April. Walia claims his experience with the service was poor and that neither customer care nor senior officials of the company were able to address his complaints satisfactorily. So Walia took his complaints to online grievance forums and then aired them on his Facebook page on May 14th. The internet did the rest, with his post spreading virally in no time.
I have a chain of emails where I have, consistently asked for a consolidated response from Vodafone with regards to why things went wrong. Whether it was the 3G issue, whether it was with regards to the SIM replacement, whether it was the first billing, where I was billed for 2G, 3G and Vodafone TV, all three of them, when the company itself by then had admitted that there is no 3G. And then the interim billing issue. So when they refused to send me the letter, I warned them saying that, you push me to the wall and I have no option but then, to go to consumer forums, to go on Facebook, social media and post it, to go to complaint board and post, my experience with Vodafone.
12 days later, this is how Vodafone responded. It sent him a notice asking him to remove his posts and stop making defamatory statements or face legal action. Vodafone claims that it not only improved its 3G network in the area that Walia had complained about, but had also given Walia a 2-month rental waiver and reversed the prorated rentals for the 3G service on his April bill as a goodwill gesture. The company wasn't talking to the media except for this release. Walia hasn't complied and Vodafone hasn't yet proceeded. In fact, now Walia says he has sought legal recourse as well.
I had also sent a counter legal notice to them and I asked them to tender an unconditional apology and give me 1.5 lakh rupees in damages for mental harassment, breach of privacy and not meeting the quality of service standards. I still haven't taken any action from them. Before my 5 days ended last Friday, there was an engagement from their side at a very senior level. Okay, but there has been no progress made because there is not been a specific proposal from their end.
The case has highlighted 3 issues. First, whether airing a bad experience online is evidence of defamation.
Obviously, Vodafone believes that what he has posted is not true and hence defamatory, or Vodafone is trying to just make an example, even though they may not have a case. At least it will send out a message saying that if someone writes against Vodafone, which is defamatory, Vodafone is not going to be silent. That may be the message they may want to pass.
When a customer is angry, when he doesn't get the redressal, an online customer usually tends to, put it on complaint board or on, on his microblogging site, and that's exactly what I did. Parallelly, what I also did is I spoke to TRAI, I wrote into TRAI, I wrote into Advertising Standards Council of India, I wrote into a couple of licensed consumer forums, which are listed on their websites. So I did all of that. Okay. So this was just one element of what I did to find redressal to the problems I had faced outside the ambit of the company, because the company had failed to address my issues.
While Valia has received a lot of online support and the national media has picked up his story, the second issue that the case raises is, are social media posts in the private or public domain?
I would tend to think that it would be considered to be a public site and not a private site. Now in social media, take Facebook for example, if I am going to send a message from one friend to another friend, it may be considered to be a private, but when I post it on a wall of some person, that would be considered to be a public message.
Interestingly, according to research firm Ovum that studies telecom and technology, Indians are increasingly turning to social media instead of the phone-in customer service to deal with complaints about faulty service and products. The third issue that the case raises is how do brands cope with more and more consumers finding a voice and support on social media sites.
You have to be ready if you're going online on social media. You have to hear it back, and you have to be ready to put people in place to address consumers, to reply them back, to answer them back, to engage with them. See, you have to understand, we have picked up this case because it has got noticed. However, it is not just about answering complaints back, it is also about engaging the customer.
To say that Vodafone has a social media created PR crisis is an understatement. Whether Valia is right or not may not be as important as it is for brands to understand that viral messages can hurt your reputation, no matter what the facts may be. In Mumbai, Animesh Das.
Companies will have to urgently find ways to cope with online buzz. I know that I tweet about everything from poor in-store service to bad advertising. And I think that's exactly why these platforms are useful, because they empower the individual. Also, of course, there is the other side, that is that a lot of this buzz may be of nuisance value. It may be miscreants sometimes out to just push companies for what they can get. But the issue at hand gets us to our ad meter poll this week, and the question is Vodafone justified in threatening to take legal action against Dhaval Valia? You can take the poll at storyboard.in.com or on our Facebook page. And here are the results of what we asked you last week, and that is, was IPL 4 a success? An overwhelming 90% of you have said no, it was not a success. Well, at least that's your perception of it. Let's move on. The week started with the ad industry sending out an SOS to the union government. It is appealing against the revised time frame by which it needs to pay service tax. According to the AAASFI, this change means that agencies have to pay service tax even before they get paid by their clients. And for a business where up to 2 months of credit is normal, this has some serious financial implications. Nikita Rana reports on what's at stake.
Here's the ad industry doing a bit of advertising for a cause close to its heart. Earlier this week, it put out a plea to the government about a new tax rule that will be effective from July 1st. As a result of this, agencies will have to pay the 10.3% service tax in the month immediately after they have rendered their services or billed their clients. The problem is that it's common practice for bills to be submitted a long time after the work has been done, and for clients to pay as much as 60 days after they have been billed.
The mismatch of the cash flows is going to impact because one is raising the monies to fund the government tax payments. It is not expected, right? If you are required to fund to meet up with the due dates under the new dates accrual system of payment, then obviously you will have to borrow. If you are borrowing, there will be interest costs that is going to eat further into your profit margins. So it's not a workable situation, and how will you determine at what point in time the service has been rendered? There are a lot of lacunae in terms of definitions also.
Since the agency is raising a bill for the 100%, it would have to levy service tax on the full 100%, and therefore, since you've raised a bill for service tax, it is incumbent upon you to pay that service tax.
As far as I know, the broadcasting service tax is paid by the broadcaster, the TV channels, who pay the service tax to Treasury. So I don't understand how agencies are affected when broadcasting service tax is related to only broadcasters.
The new rule also expects agencies to raise an invoice within 14 days of completing its work. The fact that media agencies have to gather proof of publication from third parties for both TV and print ads and raise invoices with proofs attached takes more than 30 days. And that is the problem. Also, often agencies have to deal with the fact that clients renegotiate prices even after the service is rendered, and there are cases of bad debt.
We are hoping that the government will change this rule. If the government does not change the rule, frankly, we will have to approach advertisers and say, can you set up a fund upfront, or can you pay us, keep some advances with us to enable it, and it will increase their working capital needs.
If the government doesn't relent, we will have to go to our clients, our advertisers, and tell them to pay us service tax in advance. How else would we manage the cash flow? Because I think advertisers also will understand that if they are large advertisers who are paying maybe 2.5 or 3%, then how can they pay us 2.5 or 3% and expect us to pay 10.3% upfront 60 days before they would pay us?
ISA's view has always been that you give us the full bill, complete bill, and we will pay you within 30 days. So that is true for most of our suppliers, and that is true for most of our people we sell our products to or services to. That's true for most of the people who do, say, consulting services. So I think question of paying deposit doesn't arise. I think that the need of the day is to speed up the process of billing and see that it is done faster.
The AAASFI says that small agencies with revenues of less than 10 crore rupees annually will be the worst affected. With the Indian Society of Advertisers saying that it can't be of much help, the industry can only hope that the government will respond positively to its case. In Mumbai, Nikita Rana.
We'll let you know how the government reacts to the ad industry's appeal. But for now, on Storyboard, it's time for a break. When we come back, how telecom companies are pushing their 3G services and what customer feedback has been.